Hey, this is Meleika of Evanston Live TV, and I have the pleasure of sitting in the home of the James residents, Verzell James. And before we get started with this interview, everyone in the Fifth Ward, I really think you should pay attention to this interview as well as everyone in Evanston. But before we get started, I want to let everyone know I have a receipt here that lets you know that I did reach out to Robin Rue Simmons, Fifth Ward Alderman Robin Rue Simmons, and I asked her to speak on the water pumping station issue that's going on in the Fifth Ward, and at this time she declined to be interviewed. So, as I always tell everyone, Evanston Live TV always tries to get both sides. She did let me know that she will be declining to make comment on the water pumping station at this time. So I've come by Verzell James' home to find out more of what is going on with this water pumping station. So I'm going to turn the camera now. Hi, Verzell.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you so much for your time this evening. I met you at the first Steve Haggerty Town Hall meeting.
Correct.
And you and your wife were very, very passionate, as well as I think there was like a group of you speaking on the water pumping station that's going to be going up in the Fifth Ward, really like directly across the street from your property. And you know, I did some research because, to be honest, I think there's a lot of us who didn't even know what a water pumping station was. So I did my research. I read all the past articles on the water pumping station, and you know, I can see why, you know, the residents are a little concerned and have questions, but I'm going to let you talk to the people about what the concerns are. You're part of the West End Area Pumping Station Task Force.
Correct.
You all have put a task force together.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so inform us, what is this all about?
Well, what it's basically about is respect and treating people as if they're human beings and not chattel or property to do with whatever you want. When this all happened, the city never contacted us, or they contacted one group of residents or one residence that's not closely in the impacted area. And the people that are closely impacted never got any kind of public notice. And that is one of the complaints that, among many, that we have. And because of that lack of notice, a lot of people are up in arms, because when they first heard about it was when members of the task force went door to door to ask them if they had heard about what was going on with the pumping station. And 90-some-odd% had not heard. Many of them had not heard what was going on until the day we knocked on their doors.
Okay, so in the articles that I had been reading, the city and Alderman Robin Rue Simmons, they were pretty much saying this water pumping station is going to bring money into Evanston and take Evanston out of debt and bring up your property value.
Well, I can tell you, since this pumping station project property values have started to plummet. One guy that recently bought a house last year, his property value has dropped $60,000.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, $60,000.
$60,000 in 1 year, and it's all because of the potential hazards or what have you that this pumping station will bring.
Okay. Now, you had a meeting yesterday. Is that something you want to talk about now, or?
Sure, we can talk about it. Two members of the pumping station task force went down to the Water Reclamation District board meeting, because the Water Reclamation District owns that property. And we spoke before the committee and the board to let them know that the city of Evanston and the Morton Grove Niles Water Commission lied to them to get the easement to allow them to build a pumping station. And what we found out is that the commissioners are very interested in finding out what all happened, and we have a meeting set up for next Friday with them to further our complaints and ask that they reconsider, not just reconsider, but repeal their decision to allow the pumping station to be built on their property because they were lied to. One of the rules that is part of the Water Reclamation District's policy is that they wanted to be assured that proper notice was given to the citizens, and it's pretty clear that it wasn't. And it's pretty clear that lies were told by both the city and by the city. I have letters from the Water Reclamation District that was sent by Wally Bobowitz from the city of Evanston and Bill Balling from the Morton Grove Niles Water Commission, stating that they had complied with all the things necessary to move forward with the easement for the Water Reclamation District to grant to Evanston. And they were all lies. And I have the paperwork right here that I can show you. It has dates that shows that they lied, because when we found out about it, it was a done deal. The dates on the letter show that we had not been contacted in any way whatsoever. Now, they said that they had several meetings, that the citizens were involved, and that too is not true. There was one meeting that was attended by former Alderman Dolores Holmes. She was the only one from the Fifth Ward in that meeting. And as much power as Dolores Holmes has, she does not have the right to speak for all these people in this area.
So what are the hazards that you all are concerned about in terms of this water pumping station?
Okay, there are 3 levels that we've been discussing, that we've asked for impact studies, independent impact studies, to be provided to us. We asked from the city, excuse me, and have not gotten them. Now, granted, this was back in February. Okay, it's now April. So the city has still not complied with our demands, because we demanded of the city council that we receive these things. Okay, the first is our property values. We're concerned about property values. All of our research has shown that our property values will decline by at least 30% when this pumping station is built, because it's a utility. Okay, our other concerns are noise levels produced by the pumps. Okay, one of our task force members is an engineer. He knows specifically that there are noises that you hear that can affect the human body, but more specifically, there are inaudible noises that have effects on things such as the heart and the brain and things like that. So we wanted to know what kinds of pumps you're putting in there and what are the specifications, how much noise they make. We still haven't gotten anything.
So you don't know what sort of pumps?
No.
You don't know anything?
We don't know anything, because they have failed to give us the things that are required by law that they give us. Okay. The other thing is that they want to put a 300-gallon tank in the ground that holds a highly concentrated form of chlorine in case there's a spill. We haven't gotten those impact studies on that either. Our research has shown from a case in Baltimore that a similar thing is done, and there was a spill that polluted a river. Okay, where they're putting this is right next to the canal. If that bursts, it's going right into the canal.
And with everything that's going on with Flint and so many water situations around the country, you all are concerned.
We're concerned, yeah.
So really, you're just wanting to know the details. You want to know the details of this water pumping station, just so that you have peace of mind of what's actually going to be built in the Fifth Ward.
Right.
and you're trying to get that information and you haven't received it yet.
Not one word. I've written to Robin Rue Simmons, written to the mayor, nothing. Not one thing. We've been basically ignored. But seeing as though how they went about this whole process, I'm not surprised that we've been ignored because they didn't come to us when this first was proposed. They just jumped right in and they broke laws and their own rules and regulations to get this through. Okay? Not only did they break their own rules and regulations, but they broke state laws, they broke federal laws to keep us from knowing exactly what's going on.
Now, why do you think that they would do that? Because, I read the articles and, Rue Simmons and the city, they seem very confident in that it's going to bring so much income into Evanston, period. Fifth
Right.
Ward and Evanston as a whole. So why would you think that they're keeping this information from you?
I think you just answered your own question. It's $50 million. That's the bottom line. And so our lives are not worth $50 million. That's the bottom line. And so this is a great disrespect. And in fact, it's discrimination. Because there are senior citizens, there are disabled people, and the majority of the people that live in this area are African American. Okay. Now the neighborhood is changing some. There are a lot of other people, white people, Hispanic people moving into the neighborhood, and that's all good. As long as they take care of the properties and they uphold whatever standards that we've established.
You don't care.
I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
Okay. But the fact remains is that our basic rights as human beings, yes, have been ignored. And that to me is deep.
Yes, I was just interviewing a gentleman by the name of Lonnie Wilson, and he was expressing his concern that, the $3 million deficit, he said they're going to make the Fifth Ward and certain wards that, are mostly minorities.
Fifth and second wards.
Yeah, they're going to find a way for them to pay that debt.
To bear the brunt.
To bear the brunt of the debt. So, gosh. So, you have documentation.
I have documentation, yeah. That's why I'm not afraid to call them liars, because I know that they lied. They know we know that they lied. And so that's why they're fighting as hard as they can to keep us from finding out more information. Earlier, at the end of February, I sent FOIA requests to the city to this date. Now, this is end of February. We're almost to the middle of April. I still haven't gotten those FOIA requests. Okay? Those are federal laws. FOIA requests are federal laws. So they're willing to break federal laws to not give out the information that they know would show that they are in deep, deep trouble.
Okay. Now, the email that I sent to the alderman of the Fifth Ward, I CC'd Mayor Steve Haggerty on it to let him know that I am being very, very fair, because I just want to know what's going on.
Right.
I don't know too much about water pumping stations to know if it's going to be a benefit or a hazard and bring the property value down. So I'm doing my research, and I wanted to hear your side. I wanted to hear the city side. And what she had responded was, I decline at this time to be interviewed about the water pumping station. She said, but I have reached out to those residents, and none of them have responded for a meeting.
I'm not quite sure how to answer that, because she has reached out, but her reaching out was in terms of the last correspondence that we got from her was basically saying that the bathrooms are going to be moved to the other side. Had nothing to do with, the bathrooms that are going to be attached to this pumping station are going to be moved to the other side because they were originally facing our houses. And so that was the last correspondence that I can recall having gotten from her. And she still hasn't answered the questions about the impact studies that we asked for. Not one thing. So for them, it's just business as usual. We're going straight ahead with this. damn you all. That's the way I feel about it.
So you all did an appeal, correct?
We filed an appeal with the city, and our appeal was denied, and the legal department said that our appeal was denied because they lacked the proper jurisdiction to follow up with our appeal or file any kind of charges against zoning or DAPR, which is design and what is the project management or project review. Okay. And basically what that is, it's how the city is set up. City is set up under home rule, which means it's our home, we make the rules. Okay. What we found since we started this is that a system is set up so that no one part of the city government can police the other, so they can do whatever they want to do. That's why they lack jurisdiction because it's not set up for them to follow up against any complaints or any wrongdoing that any parts of the city government might have. So basically, it's I'm gonna say it's not a democracy. I can guarantee you that. The people have no voice, and the city does what they want to do. And basically, if you find a city at fault at something, the onus is on you or the group that you're part of to take it to legal matters, okay? And they know that. And they know that filing legal procedures is a very expensive thing. Mm-hmm. So they have us. So they think.
Could they have put that water pumping station in another ward?
I suppose it could have gone in the second ward, and I'm not sure what the ward is further north of us. There are other ways that it could have been done. And what we found out is that not only is Morton Grove and Niles seeking water, because those communities get their water from the city of Chicago. Okay, Chicago is charging a lot of money, okay, for the water. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for cheaper means. So, but what's going on is that if there are 5-6 communities looking for water, then come together and find a better way to get that water supply to you, not taking our property or properties close to us and lowering our property values to get what you want. That's fundamentally wrong. From my perspective, what's going on is evil, because you have not, or they have not, allowed us a voice in anything, and we are people. We're human beings. To me, it's like I'm a student of history. And so, to me, it's like manifest destiny. You're in my way. Damn you. We're going to get out of the way. We're going to do whatever we can to have our way. And that's wrong. There's nothing more fundamentally wrong than that. You don't treat human beings that way.
We have a few people who are watching us right now. If you all have any questions for Mr. James, I keep calling you Mr. James. You keep telling me to call you by your first name.
That's true.
for Verzell, if you have any questions, you all feel free to type it in right now, and I can ask him. I'm learning as I go about, the situation. But I was really touched at the town hall, you and your wife, because you all were. I was like, okay, something's up with this water pumping station. And then I'm looking at all the paperwork that you have here. You got receipts. You got documentation.
We have documentation, yes.
So what's the next step? And others in the Fifth Ward who may not understand what's going on, may not be aware, how can they get in touch with you to get more information?
Well, there's a note coming, and part of what's going on with the building there is that, like we said earlier, it's owned by the Water Reclamation District. For many years, there was a Shore School on that property. Shore School abandoned that property 2 years or so ago, so it's been a vacant building.
The lease wasn't renewed.
The Water Reclamation District's rule is that if there's any abandoned property on any abandoned buildings on their property, that they will tear the building down. and return it to natural open green space. And so that area is zoned for open green space. All right. So the city of Evanston had to seek a zoning variation in order to build that pumping station there. Okay. Water Reclamation District rules also say that there cannot be anything built on their property to generate income. Okay. And the other thing about it is that the pumping station is not supplying water to Evanston. They're outside communities. And so they have mixed a bunch of rules and regulations, or broken a bunch of rules and regulations to allow this pumping station.
So this $50 million, where would this $50 million go?
Obviously to the city of Evanston. It's not coming to us. And we've heard all along that the city of Evanston needs money, they're broke, and that sort of thing. But that's due to their own mismanagement. A story just came out a couple of days ago about a city worker from the transportation department that put together a bus company, and the city, with the help of an alderman, and I won't list any names, helped this person get a $140,000 loan to build his bus company. That person defaulted on that loan, okay? So the city is bearing the brunt of that. If there are other things that have gone on like this in the city, now we know why they're broke.
Okay, Liz has a question. This is pretty complicated for my brain, but it really seems shady, not transparent at all. Any chance the park will be beautified, expanded, splash pad?
Here's the bottom line with that. The residents that are directly impacted by this, we don't want the pumping station. We don't want a splash pad. We don't want a soccer field with lights at night. Okay, we want the green space, and that is our right as citizens.
Okay, so they didn't speak to everyone in the ward about what you actually want, ideas that you have. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. That's correct. We have, like I said, the task force went door to door in March. We have 40 questionnaires filled out by the impacted citizens. Not one is in favor of this pumping station. So we have not been listened to whatsoever.
Okay. And the consensus is you all just want the green space.
We want the green space. Our research has shown that the green space is what brings the property values up. Now, if the city wants to extend the park, which is Beck Park, which is just north, extend the bike path with natural green space, fine. But no pumping station, no splash pad, no soccer field. That's what we feel.
Now I was doing research on the chemicals. What sort of chemicals would be used?
There is a highly concentrated form of chlorine that they want to put in a 300-gallon underground tank, 200 feet from our door. Okay, our research has shown there's something that happened in Baltimore where a similar situation happened, and the tank ruptured and it polluted a river. And this tank that they want to put in is right next to the canal. If something happens, that highly concentrated form of chlorine is going to go into the canal.
Okay. I was reading one of the other media outlets, and the Fifth Ward alderman did a tour of a water pumping station that she said would be similar to the one that's going to be built here. I think it was on Grosse Pointe.
Yeah, Grosse
Road.
Pointe, just north of Gulf Road. Okay, that pumping station they lied about. Okay, because it had one pump and it was about 500 square feet. They're talking about 3,600 square feet.
Oh.
So there's a big difference. They're talking 3 pumps and an auxiliary pump here. Okay.
Plus an auxiliary.
So there's no comparison. So that was a dog and pony show to convince people that everything was going to be okay. When What they should have done was given us the impact studies that we asked for that directly relates to what they're trying to build here.
Okay, so what's next?
What's next for us is that we're looking at lawyers, because it came out, and you were at the town hall meeting the other day, and there was a woman sitting next to Wally, and when we were talking and I was saying my piece, she said, get a lawyer. Get a lawyer. So we're looking for lawyers now, because we need to file an injunction against the city and against the Morton Grove Niles Water Commission, because they have failed to do what they were supposed to do. They have not given us due diligence, not in any respect whatsoever.
Okay, and what does make sure I got it right, the MWRD Board of Commissioners, so what happens with them next?
Next, we have a meeting with them on Friday, next Friday, and our hope is to convince them to make this go back to the drawing board so that the City of Evanston and the Morton Grove Niles Water Commission give us the due diligence that we deserve.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal, okay? When we spoke yesterday, the commissioner from the Morton Grove Niles Water Commission spoke after us. And basically, he iterated to the commissioners that there were contracts involved. And so they're on a tight deadline because they have all these contracts to tear down the building, to do all the digging, to build. But if they had done their due diligence, they wouldn't be under this pressure that we're putting on them right now. Okay? If they didn't do anything, they didn't do it the right way.
Okay. And before we go, is there anything else you want Evanston, mainly the 5th Ward, to know?
I want the 5th Ward to know that they need to question everything that's going on, not only in the 5th Ward, but with all of our council members, because they are not beholden to anyone. They operate with impunity. And the thing that we need to do is that we need to have people attend the meetings that are going on, because a lot of meetings, things just get passed that have great impacts on us, and we don't know anything about it. The citizens have been left out, okay, by the people that we elected to watch out for us. We're being abused.
Okay, do you feel like your alderman may feel like she is looking out for you by making this decision, almost like a parent, like, I know what's best, this is going to be good for the ward? So I feel like she might be coming from that space based off of the articles I've been reading.
I'll tell you this. I'm this kind of person, okay?
Okay.
I don't let anybody speak for me. If you need something, you want to know something, ask me, okay? I won't say I've educated myself to the point where is that if something's going on, I feel that I can speak for myself. I don't need anybody speaking for me.
All right, well, thank you so much, Verzell. Thank you to you and your wife, Bonnie, allowing Evanston Live TV into your home. And I have been educated.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I think that a lot of people need to ask questions, okay? Because not only is this impacting us, but eventually it's going to impact them too, the residents of the 5th Ward. And I know that Robin has a large following of people. They're proud of her, and I get it. But there are people that we know in common that didn't know what was going on with this pumping station. So as good as she is with her people, there are a lot of people that don't know her. I'm going to leave it at that.
And we will end right here. Thank you so much, Verzell. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Okay, you guys, this is Meleika of Evanston Live TV. If you want to get more information, you can reach out to Verzell James. It's the West End Area Water Pumping Station Task Force. Reach out to him. Is there an email address you want them to have, or
just look me up on Facebook?
Look him up on Facebook, Verzell James. And of course, if you have questions, definitely for your aldermen in the city, reach out to them and let's find out what is really going on. Thank you. Meleika, Evanston Live TV.